Yeah, well, it was so great to hear and to listen to the last sessions for today. These were exciting days, and it's a great place, I would say. There was quite some trouble with traveling, and to my very simple question, how was your travel? I always heard my flight was cancelled, 2 flights were cancelled, my luggage was stuck in Germany somewhere. But nevertheless, I mean, despite all these obstacles, you were here, and most of you are here until the end of the summit. So we had interesting sessions. We had a science market that was very lively, and we heard in one of the first panels in the HPC session not only what is happening since, or what was happening in 2013 and 2023, but we took also the perspectives of looking back, being in 2033. We heard about clinical applications that are coming out of the project, and this is not obvious considering how long it takes to develop and introduce new methods in medicine. Simon Privet provided the patient's perspective, and his contribution is memorable to all of us, I would say. We had Best Posters Award, and in fact, many highly interesting posters, and also importantly, very interesting discussions at the posters with the colleagues. Technology was presented. We had technology awards, and to award these technologies with the award, this was very difficult because we had really a large number of very strong technological developments. And that's so to say, that's a change that happened, I would say, during the past years. And I was impressed to see how competitive our neuromorphic systems are in terms of how fast they are, how energy efficient they are. And it was incredible to see how the neurobotics is developing, and how, again, how much neuro is in our AI networks and then translated also to technologies. So neuroscience was great also at this very last day, and we heard about very practical questions, how to recognize a special type of beer. And this were put in a theoretical concept, so nobody can claim that this is research in an ivory tower that we are here presenting. So praxis and theory are well combined also. We heard about exciting cells, also about more boring pyramidal cells, and we got an impression of really what is going on in the neuroscience field. There were interesting and important discussions, one concerning e-brains and how to best describe e-brains. We received some answers in the last session. Of course, when we go to the website, it says e-brains is a new research infrastructure that gathers an extensive range of data and tools for brain-related research, which is of course true. Yeah, but some of you ask, is this really hitting the point? Can we do it perhaps better? We discussed it yesterday, late night, with a good glass of French wine. And Yannis came up with a proposal that e-brains represents the brain. And if you think more about it, e-brains represents the brain, then representation is a quite strong and comprehensive concept. So according to Wiki and Pollux and Law, this is activities, undertaking, but also lobbying. Also true for our research infrastructure, I would say. When you think about arts, depiction, images of things seen, remembered, or imaged, also applies for e-brains. Cognitive science says it's a knowledge representation, the study of formal ways to describe knowledge. In mathematics, it's a representation, a very general relationship that expresses similarities between objects, also describes abstract groups in terms of linear transformations. So it comes quite close, I would say, and I like it, and maybe it's a good basis to further discuss how to describe e-brains in very short terms and words. So thank you very much, Yannis and Fabrice, for this discussion. So me and my colleagues who organized hope very much that you have found out new ways how e-brains can support your research well. Examples were provided in the last sessions from the developers and from the users' perspective, also from a more political perspective. And I can tell you that many functionalities will be improved, of course, in the next months. And this is always like it is. So at the end, things are converging and getting more and more interesting. So stay online and follow what is happening on the website and what will be provided in the next months. So eBrains is on the S3 roadmap of large European infrastructures to make it available long-term, to further develop it according to the needs of the scientists, researchers, but also of the institutions involved, also of the countries that are participating. That's a bit squaring the circle, yeah, to bring all these interests under one umbrella. In the past months, the National Node Board and the Infrastructure Science and Infrastructure Board have been established to make sure that eBrains really addresses these needs. It is in the interest of all of us to achieve it and that it becomes a long-lasting endeavor and long-lasting infrastructure for European and international research. And we should make this happen. So I can assure you that we are all committed with all the bodies that are involved, with all the different players and all the different stakeholders to support that and to further develop eBrains and make it even more powerful and even more useful for your research. So at the very end, let me also thank to the many colleagues who made this possible. So first of all, of course, the local host, Victor Jurza and his team. Victor, perhaps you can join me now. Also the teams. The teams in Brussels, in Geneva, in Innsbruck, and in Jülich, who did their best to make this an enjoyable event and who really tried out to react to any foreseen circumstances. So thank you also very much to these teams. All speakers, researchers, managers involved, also advisory committees, stakeholder board, board of directors for continuous support and for steering the activities in the HBP and the eBrains AISPL. Thank you also to these boards and to the people. Let me thank our funders, in particular DG Connect at the European Commission, and Teresa Di Martino is still here, who help us and supports us for a long time. Also, of course, national and other funding, which is key in going the step from a project to a large-scale community effort that is impactful, again, on the long run. So thank you also very much to our funders. Okay. Thank you for your active participation. That will hopefully put the ground for our next open HBP meeting coming up in the future. Looking very much seeing you again. Thank you.
Wonderful, Katrin. A word from my local perspective to give you a little bit of local flavor also, and maybe a feue subtleties that you have not seen. Remember when our Aix-Marseille University president was talking to you, he spoke in French, and he said a particular sentence, Monsieur le Président, Eric Berton, at the moment he said, and excused himself, I have to go now outside and to speak to the unions and the syndicats that were waiting outside and actually making manifestations. So he was actually doing some management outside and was doing this actually very well. But these are the things, some of the pressures that were surrounded by this meeting that hopefully did not impact, besides travel, of course, some of the activities. Yeah? That's one point I wanted to point out. Another one in preparation, for instance, there was, I spoke to Pavel yesterday, and you reminded me of this story that I had forgotten. 1 year ago, when we started to prepare this and we wanted to involve the region and the mayor, we managed to get a meeting at the mayor's office, which is actually very difficult to get. So I left early in the morning. I live in Aubagne, but there was a motorway was crowded, and once there is, that's normal. So I anticipated 1 hour, but when there is an accident, everything is blocked. And they were already waiting, and I was still on the motorway. I decided to go outside. I parked on the campus, ran to the metro, wanted to jump in the metro. The ticket was blocked. Was saying only cash, so I couldn't get a cash machine. And here you cannot jump the barriers as you can in Paris sometimes. So I ran out, and I was wondering, what do I do? And then I saw a trottinette, you know, this electric, yeah. So I jumped on this, and for 5 kilometers, I was running like crazy on this thing, accelerating through Marseille in order to arrive at the mayor's office, completely drenched in sweat. I entered, the security said, calm down, it's okay, a glass of water. Then I ran in. Lisa, I think, where is it? You were there, you were waiting there. MCO was waiting there, the representatives of the mayors. Everyone was very nice, half an hour later, but this is where things actually started, getting involved and building it up, getting access to these buildings, to the nice place where we had the dinner summit. So it worked out. Thank you for MCO, actually, in this context, who's the organizing party, the company that helped us putting these things together and pull these threads. Yeah? Also, maybe one word as a reminder, we had also some sponsors, Codemart, Siemens, and VBTech. Thank you for your contributions to making this financially possible. So, yeah. So, maybe highlighting a few people. Lisa, could you please come here? Yesterday evening, we also talked Lisa 1, Lisa 2, Katrin's Lisa, Victor's Lisa. Usually it was always the other Lisa, right? This is Lisa. She's actually thinking that I'm going to call now the other people on the stage, which I will do eventually. However, just a second, please. Since we cannot send flowers with the airplanes to all of you that have actually contributed, for you representing essentially the local group and all the people, the Innsbruck people, the HBP organization team, at least one bouquet of flowers that we can locally pass on. She didn't know anything about that. Usually she organizes everything. Thank you, Lisa, very much. But having said this, Lisa, of course, was supported by a powerful team. Locally, we had also Giovanna and Roberto. There was a media team of Lisa and Peter who did an incredible work during the past days and the last weeks.
And Christine and Evan and what their names are, yeah?
These are the names, actually, and I would like to ask them to come to this stage, because we have actually cookies here in the back. Please, why don't we read them? Okay. Lisa, Peter, Giovanna, here. Giovanna, Lisa, Marta, Sylvia, Tina, Evan, Judith. Please come forward, all of you.
Christine, Helen, Hannah, Roberto, Ekin, Angeliki, Franziska, Valeria, Pedro, Caroline.
Please come forward. Yeah. Shall I? Please come forward. Join us all. Yeah. Thank you for coming. You want to come to I'll take the other one. There will be a little more than cookies, but for travel-related reasons, we wanted to do it this way. At least here in Marseille, locally, we have this this exhibition, these pictures, and they will move from Alcazar to a nice pub, actually, and will be exhibited there. And end of the week, we will get there together, and I assume all of you will do something at home similarly. So once again, thank you very much to all of you. You were a fantastic team to work with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now the meeting is really closed, and these are my final words. Have a good and safe trip home.
Thank you.